Hello, dear friends. We are so glad you're here to learn about the reality of dissociative identity disorder. Welcome to Season 3. We are your hosts, Drew
and Garden System,
a couple of multiples.
We are a married couple, and we both have dissociative identity disorder. Did you know that 120 million people across the globe live with dissociative identity disorder and are often misdiagnosed for 6 to 12 years?
We hope to help educate and dispel myths about DID to help people find the right diagnosis and appropriate treatment as quickly as possible.
Please visit acoupleofmultiples.com and sign up for our mailing list to stay up to date with our podcast, our private paid online DID community called Hearts Multiplied, and to book consultations.
That's right. Drew and Garden System are now offering consultation to help educate and support those living with and treating dissociative identity disorder. You can book an appointment with either Garden System or both Drew and Garden System right from our website, acoupleofmultiples.com.
We hope you enjoy this episode and learn something new.
We appreciate all of our reviews, and we love to hear from you, dear listener, about what you enjoyed the most. We are honored to have multiple sponsors for Season 3. You can find links to each sponsor's webpage in the show notes of every episode and on our website under the Listen to Our Podcast tab. The Institute for Creative Mindfulness, one of the largest EMDR therapy training programs in North America, is directed by Dr. Jamie Plus Marich, the only EMDR therapy trainer who is out as a plural and offers the full EMDR therapy basic training in a way that honors lived experience and destigmatizes dissociation in clinical work.
We felt so validated when we were able to authentically participate in this training as Garden System. Go to www.instituteforcreativemindfulness.com for a full list of upcoming trainings, both online and in person, offered by Dr. Jamie and her selected network of EMDR trainers.
Bearings therapy is different from anything you've ever tried. You spend your nights worrying about whether you did the right thing, whether you're failing your family, how you and your spouse don't connect anymore, and those things haunt you at night.
You don't feel comfortable talking to anyone. A, you don't want to relive it, and B, you're not interested in talking about your garbage. You may feel lost right now, but I'll be your compass. Get your bearings. Call me today, 214-892-2158. As a certified internal family systems licensed therapist, Tiffany Morgan, owner of Holistic Self-Healing Psychotherapy, specializes in working with dissociative identities through IFS and sculpting.
Known affectionately as Ocean, she brings lived experience with dissociative identities and anorexia, offering consulting, psychotherapy, training, and authoring a book on personal and professional experiences in these areas.
Visit www.tiffanycobb with 2 B's, Morgan.com. www.tiffanycobbmorgan.com or call 520-582-9313 for more information.
Alex Amar, LCSW, offers creative art classes and series, including the Creative Journal, Soul Collage, and Altered Books, all on the Zoom platform exclusively for people living with dissociation.
The 8-week winter series of the Creative Journal begins in early March. For more information, check out her website at alexamar.com, ALIXAMAR.com, or her Facebook page, Dissociative Creative Explorations.
Welcome, dear friends, to a sweet and endearing episode with Drew
and Garden System,
a couple of multiples, the reality of dissociative identity disorder.
In today's episode, we interview our 2 adult children, Kaylee and Rachel, about what it was like growing up with a parent that has DID.
So I was married when I was 20 years old to a man, and I was married for about 10 years. And during that 10 years is when I gave birth to 4 beautiful, wonderful children.
They're so beautiful.
And then I got divorced, and then I was divorced for about 8 years. And then Drew and I met and got married.
That's me.
Yeah, here we are. So that's the relationship history. So we're going to talk with the 2 oldest, who are both adults and now in college, and ask them a few questions about what it was like to have a mom with DID.
Yeah, so Garden System was a single mom for quite some time before I came in the picture.
Yeah, just me with the 4 kiddos, all by myself with DID and didn't know it. That was fun.
So I'm going to ask the first question, and Kaylee, you can go ahead and answer first, and then Rachel, you can answer after that. Okay, tell us a little bit about what you remember about learning that Garden System mom was diagnosed with DID.
Well, okay. So this was like forever ago, it feels like to me. So it kind of feels like old history. Mom's giving me this look because like I called her old. She's not, but she's awesome. And she kind of got in the car with me and was like, now I need you to believe me and not think I'm crazy. Yes, you did say that. Just don't give that look. But this has been happening. I've been looking at all these different things. Like, she kind of like walked me through her process of how she came to believe that she had DID. And I was like, that makes a lot of sense. This explains so many different things that I have seen over the years. Yes, I believe you. Like, it did not process to me at any moment to say, oh, maybe you're not, like, correct on this. Like, to me, like, it was just kind of like, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
We have a totally different memory, which, like, why are we surprised? I have DID. But, like, that's not what do not remember that conversation. I remember assigning you to read the book by Gary Paulson, Soldier's Heart, and had you do a research paper on PTSD.
Yes, you did that, but you did that, like, way after you told me we had this conversation.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Well, fun times, people.
This is going to be an awesome
Yeah, this is why I get everything in writing and promises from her, because she doesn't remember nothing.
This is fantastic.
I feel so great right now. I just remember, you know how many episodes I have shared this story now about how I made you read this book and do this research paper and you figured it out on your own? That's what I remember. I remember you coming to me and saying, Mom, do you have this?
Yeah, no, that's not how this happened.
Okay.
That is
sorry,
not how
folks.
this
I
happened.
apparently did not tell an accurate story, so I apologize. But why are we not surprised?
How about you, Rachel? Yeah.
All to your bedroom, and we sat there on your bed, and you're like, "Kids, I have dissociative identity disorder, or DID," and we're like, "Yeah, we know." After you explained it.
Yeah, I think you mixed mine and Rachel's.
Because that's about what it was. We were like, "Oh, that's the words for what you do."
That's the word for what I do.
I love that.
Yeah, I think you mixed up mine and Rachel's story.
Maybe
read out the
that's
book
what
research.
Mom did not make me write. I don't even remember the book she mentioned.
Soldier's Heart by Gary Paulson.
I remember reading that and writing a paper on it.
I did not write a paper on the book. I don't remember reading it either.
Great. Okay. Well, I apparently don't know my own history, so I'm sure all of our listeners are probably dying of laughter right now. So this is what it's like. This is the reality of DID, like what I think I know versus what the kids tell me. Yeah. So apparently, I guess I sat them all down and told. How old were you guys when I told you?
Young.
I was like 12.
So that
I don't
Rachel
remember how old,
was
but like
10 or 11.
Okay, the conversation in the car probably was 11, but when we sat down on the bed, I was 12.
Okay, sure. All right. So anyway, we're going to move on to the next question now because I don't know how much I can handle here. All right. Looking back, what were some things that happened that you now realize was Garden System mom switching? Kaylee, you go first. Dead silence. This is great.
Sorry.
I don't remember.
I mean, you probably do. You just probably haven't, like, put it under switching. I can, like, name, like, a bunch of things off the top of my head when I think about it that are switching.
Well, I remember the story that you told me about how you made my littles come out so you didn't have to go to bed. Or, like,
Oh, yeah,
do
we
whatever
did
you
that
want.
multiple times. But we didn't realize that we were pulling littles out. We just knew that if we said something just right, your, like, face would change and, like, your personality would become You're giving this look.
This needs to be a video
Before-
episode.
I think before I had the words for DID, I noticed every time we went over to Grandma's house or Grandma was over, your entire face and personality changed.
That would be
I was like,
Sarah,
that's
people.
weird. I didn't think I mentioned anything about it, though.
I think the easiest ones for me to pull would be, like, any of the littles, like, yeah, getting out of going to bed early because we know what to say to, like, make your little come out and want to play with us. We knew that, like, if we proposed some type of game, your little might come out and play with us, even though at the time we didn't know it was a little. But one of the really big things that I remember that wasn't a little is Victoria.
Oh, boy.
Here we go.
Often came out.
Like, your, like, I called them, like, your, like, angry days or your evil shadow days.
Evil shadow days. Oh, my God.
Not anything against Victoria. Victoria is awesome, and she even taught me at one point how to glare like an evil queen, and it was
I
great.
would like our listeners to know here, and I don't remember what I was going to say. Like, I'm now switching a lot. Oh my gosh.
This state is clean.
I haven't even told you what happened.
Did it have anything to do with the evil glare?
That was actually a later story when I knew that Victoria was an altar. And I asked her how she did these evil glares, and she taught me how to do an evil glare. It was
That's
fun.
awesome.
That is awesome.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. I wanted to say to your listeners, please notice the people-pleasing trauma response my daughter just gave talking about Victoria. We love her.
Hey, rude. But I guess with Victoria, the big thing that I really noticed was when we'd, like, the house would be, like, perfectly clean except for, like, normal kid clutter. When we were, say, like, I don't know the place. Like, it was like this little kitschy apartment. And, like, I don't know where we were. But, like, this was, like, forever and ever ago.
The townhouse?
No, before the townhouse.
It
I
was
don't
the
remember
apartment we had in Rockledge.
Yes, that
We had an
place.
apartment?
Yeah, we lived in this luxury apartment when we first moved to Rockledge. Anyway, go on, Kaylee.
And we were just kind of, like, sitting watching TV together, essentially. Like, well, I think you were doing laundry, and I was, like, watching some kids show. I don't know what Rachel was doing. Didn't really care at the time.
I was not, apparently.
Like, your entire face changed, and, like, the entire way you were holding your body.
I'm gonna cry, people.
And, like, you just saw, like, the general kid clutter on the floor and, like, freaked.
I'm afraid to ask what freaked meant. Or what freaked means, I should say.
You turned off my kids show and told me to clean and then counted down at me and told me I would get spanked if I didn't clean it up.
Oh.
It's part of the reasons why I hate counting.
I do need to remind our dear listeners that Victoria was raised very conservative Christian, and yeah, like Dr. James Dobson child rearing styles back then.
Drew has no comment.
I love you and I love Victoria, and you're much nicer about the
She's
whole
people
thing now.
pleasing again. I told these kids to be honest and that it would be okay.
Yes,
Yes,
this
I
is
am
the
being
reality of DID.
It's embarrassing, but we're going to go with it. It's okay. I had those embarrassing moments. Everyone else can know that, like, it's going to be okay. They're not alone in all the craziness and all the shenanigans and all the things. Yeah. Thanks, Kaylee, for sharing. I appreciate that so much.
I love you. I'm sorry. You said honest.
I did.
Yes.
I did, and I mean it. I do. What about you, Rachel? What were some things that you now realize was actual switching when you think back on them? This child is thinking hard.
Yes, blinking.
I did send these questions to them ahead of time.
You did. I've been thinking, but like,
It's okay, Rachel.
don't think I studied.
To be fair, I don't think I really looked at the questions beyond once, and then went and like prepared for my D&D session after this.
Yes,
This is
Kaylee
the honest
is
truth.
going to be dungeon mastering a Dungeons and Dragons game as soon as this interview is done. That's okay.
Sorry.
Shall we move on?
I don't think I classified a lot under switching in my head.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's okay. Rachel's a little bit younger, so. All right, let's go on to the next question.
Okay. How do you think growing up for you might have been different from others since you have a mom with DID?
I think one of the like biggest ones I can immediately point out is well, the fact that mom has snow. In what snow taught us when we were toddlers.
Oh yeah.
Mom's melting in her seat, dying.
I want to hear this.
So, sorry for our dear listeners who are unaware, Snow is our altar that is a white Siberian tiger. This is going to be a good story, people. Kaylee can get through it.
Mom would growl like an actual animal, and all of us kids picked up on it. And like, we did not realize that that was rude and not normal.
Not normal.
Until Mom discovered she had DID and explained that to us. I have gotten scolded by my grandmother for literally growling at her under my breath whenever she irritated me, and didn't realize that like she was literally scolding me for actually growling at her.
That's where the growling comes from?
Yeah, that would be Snow. So all of our lovely dear listeners that have animal altars.
Yeah. We have meowing and growling.
There is a lot of meowing and growling going on in this house.
Yeah,
This is a really embarrassing episode. Just saying.
No, this is awesome.
I love you, but
I'm enjoying it.
us siblings do have a sibling like language of basically animal language, Mom. And you raised us that way.
That's not a bad thing. I mean, Rachel's now you're at college doing animal studies and philosophy, and you want to learn how to talk to animals. Like, well, no wonder you want to learn how to talk to animals. We've been talking animal language your whole life.
Yeah, Rachel just sat there and like nodded really, really hard for like a moment.
Like the what?
She's in agreement.
Yeah, she is.
I think like the only other difference is just kind of like you didn't always know which mom you were gonna get. And like I did learn like what words and phrases at the time to bring forth certain versions of mom, aka the littles sometimes, but I think that it just kind of like the instability of not knowing which mom I was gonna get some days. I think that's like another big difference.
Yeah. I could relate with that because I think my own mother has DID and I didn't know which mom I was going to get. So I get that.
What about you, Rachel?
I don't know. I think growing up is just... I mean, I know growing up is different from other kids because we were all also autistic, but...
Yeah.
Gotta try and separate which parts are specifically from dissociative identities. I remember after you like told everybody, "Are you a dissociative identity disorder?" when we were little, like everybody in the general, like it was somewhere. But usually when people find out you had dissociative identity disorder, and I was really young, they go, "So which mommy do you like the best?"
Like other
Nope.
people asked you this?
You were there when they asked me it.
Wow.
You were next to me.
Wow. Okay, I really want to. Okay, dear supporters, please do not ask children which mommy they like best. I don't think that's a good question to be
I'm
asked.
shaking my
I don't
head
think
no.
anybody else gets asked that.
Yeah, that's a weird question. I think I have been asked it with you there and with you not there.
Yeah, and they don't really take.
typically
Well,
shut
mommy
my
is
dad.
mommy for an answer.
Well, yeah, I'm mommy no matter what.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
good.
basically tell them it's none of their business because they don't understand. Like if you're asking that question, you don't understand, and so you don't need to be asking.
Thanks, Kaylee. That was nice and strong and powerful. Love you.
I love you, Mama.
All right. Next question.
Yes,
Oh, it's me. Okay.
it is you.
Do you feel like you have different relationships with different parts of Mommy Garden System?
Yes. I mean, like some of it is kind of generalized, like with the littles, like I don't always sometimes feel like a daughter or a dependent. I know I can go to them for comfort, and I know I can go to them if I want to play with you or have a fun time with you. But like I'm not going to come to them with like questions of romance or questions of my friendships, or even questions of money.
Mm-hmm.
Like I kind of like it's almost like a weird relationship where they have authority over me.
Yeah, Daisy
But,
likes to stomp her foot and say, "I'm still your mom."
yes, but like they're not old enough for like some of the things that I'm asking about now as an adult. Like
Yeah,
they're just that's not where they are, even if they have been children for forever.
Right. So you kind of know who you need to be talking to about certain subjects.
Mm-hmm. And even then, like I don't go to Victoria for certain things, just like I wouldn't go to Sadie for certain things. Like I don't want to be therapized every time I come and talk to you about some of my problems.
Yeah, we understand. We make Sadie go sit in the closet when we go to therapy ourselves because, yeah, she needs to shut up while we're in therapy.
Yeah, but like I will talk to Kilera more about like certain problems or certain things, and sometimes Kilera tells me a little bit too much because she doesn't always understand that I am technically her daughter.
Yeah, Kilera does age slide down to about 16 and sometimes like forgets the authority role we're supposed to have. That's annoying. And like Leanna's like banging her head inside, like, no, Kilera, no.
Just the appropriateness factor.
Yeah, but like again, like a lot of it's kind of generalized, and like most of the time I'm like it's mom. Like I will like there's like a general a way I will always treat all of mom's alters. It's just like different aspects of like what I would go to them for advice wise or what I'm searching for them emotion wise.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Rachel? Do you feel like you have different relationships with different parts of me?
A little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like Haley said, it's the difference between like how old the alters are generally and like how much they're out.
Right. I know for a while there, like littles were out a lot.
They were.
Mm-hmm.
But generally, yeah, they're all mommies still.
Yeah. Okay. We're all mommy. I love it.
Okay, what's something funny you remember happening related to garden system mommy having parts or DID?
I see big smile on Rachel, so this will be good.
Why don't you go first, Rachel?
No, you go first.
Okay,
Well,
okay.
You can't mess up the pattern now, Kaylee. Remember, it has to happen in the same order.
Fine. I guess one of the biggest really funny things is whenever like Daisy or Blossom, sometimes even Sarah comes out.
These are littles, people.
Yes, all of Mommy's littles, but Daisy is the one who's like the face of the littles. Like almost everyone will claim they're Daisy, even if they're not Daisy. I'm kind of okay at identifying when it's Blossom, when it's they're claiming Daisy, but I can't really figure out most other people, because it depends on how they will ask for their chocolate milk.
Oh God,
This is so true.
So, I love you, Mommy.
the chocolate milk thing is a thing that has been happening my entire life. Even back, I had my roommates in college get me chocolate milk in the mornings to help me get up. Like, who does that? Like, really? But okay, anyway, go ahead.
You have all of us children trained to you will give us this big pouty look like we're gonna break your heart if we could get you some chocolate milk. And
she even got me addicted to chocolate milk.
No, once or twice, and like you will like bat your eyes and get even sadder, and then I actually feel bad and go get you the chocolate milk. That's typically Daisy. Now when Blossom does it, she will like tug my sleeve and like just give me this heartbroken look.
Oh God.
Won't say a word. And when
sometimes she says please.
Yes,
Oh, good. I'm glad there's manners being used here.
And then like if I pull it out just far enough, she'll say, "Chalky milk, please." And so I go make you your chocolate milk.
No.
Yes. Yes.
She does not say chalky milk.
Then one of the other littles does it, but like, and they switch with her in the middle of it after I've pulled it out long enough. But so one of you littles has said chalky milk to me.
Okay. Sure.
Ramona says chalky milk now.
Just keep hammering away that I still lose time. Thanks.
And this is why I get everything in writing. At least.
Okay, Rachel, what about you? What's your funny story? No.
Really, Rachel? You can't think of one? You can't think of one?
That was a funny one.
You have an
maybe
idea?
Victoria or Sadie?
One without what?
What about Kilera when I danced on the table?
Oh, I remember dancing on the table.
Say what?
Does this have anything to do anything?
I don't remember
anything illegal
other than me dancing on the table, though. Because
I remember that we managed to get Mom to come up on the table.
Your childhoods were wild, weren't they?
Oh, yes. But we managed to pull you up onto the table and you danced with us. We had a dance party in the living room.
I like dance
I remember
parties.
I stopped dancing because I knocked over hot chocolate onto my ankle.
Table dancing is totally something Kilera and even Leanna would do.
Yeah. I missed out. I should have been there.
All right, so tell that story, Rachel.
No.
So you already did. Like, that's going to go in. She has such a cute little face, guys. I wish we could have videoed this. Rachel's adorable.
She's adorable.
Well, unfortunately, my camera decided to not work, so.
Yeah, it's okay. All right. So anyway, we are on to the next question. The next question is, what is an advantage to having parents with DID?
Well, I think it's a little bit, like, I want to say easier to know you're loved because, like, almost every single altar wants to tell you that you're loved.
Aww,
like, I can go to any altar and they will all say they love me. They all adore me. They all want to hug and cuddle me and, like, spend time with me. Even when they're disagreeing with each other and fighting with each other, I can still go up to them and say, "Mom, I need a hug," and you will give me a hug.
Okay, I like that story.
That's true. You do. You're very loving.
Thank you for
all
redeeming me now. Okay. Well, I mean, I know that there are some people out there who not every altar recognizes biological children as their biological children. And I know that's hard for a lot of people to deal with. So, but for you guys, like that's not the case. Every single one of us. And like, I know that, we know that, but I'm glad that you guys knew it too. So
Yeah, like even when like some of the scarier alters at the time came out, and like
when she says
lightly,
scarier, she means Victoria, who is like a
yes,
Nazi about cleaning the house.
she is. I still adore her. Like, she still loves us, and like I can still go up to her while she's in the middle of ranting about like cleaning the house, put my arms around her middle, and she will still hug me. I mean, she will sigh and she will say, "You are doing this to get out of cleaning," but she will still hug and love on me.
She's something else. Well, that's good. What about you, Rachel? What do you think is an advantage to having a mom with DID?
You never don't want to play with us.
That is true.
It's we can always just go up to you and be like, "Mommy, play with us." And unless you're busy with doing work or something, you're always yes, because a little is always there and ready to play.
That is a cool advantage. We are always ready to play. We'll play Minecraft, we'll play video games, we'll play board games. We'll do it all.
Yeah, you don't think that we're not important. You're not willing to push us away for like adult things. Like, you are a-okay with spending time with us.
Yeah,
like,
and
we
you
know
won't
that.
like make fun of us for liking a childlike game either.
Yeah.
This is true. Like, I'm like, yes, let's pull out Candyland, man. I don't care how old we are.
Candyland is awesome.
Makes me feel a little less embarrassed, about some of like the childish things I'm still attached to, even though I am an adult in college.
Yeah.
I'm not embarrassed in the slightest.
Well, that is good. All right. I imparted some good things to my children. All right. Next question.
Okay. What is a disadvantage to having parents with DID?
I think I have mentioned it multiple times in this interview. I have to get everything important in writing, preferably through a text message, so she cannot say she doesn't have it.
Yeah, that's a thing. Because if you just say something in passing with like without saying this is important or writing it down somewhere, there's a 50-50 shot the next time you talk she's gonna be like, "No, I don't know what you're talking about."
Yeah, even if I have said this is important, please remember this. Like,
That
I
means
went
nothing.
through yeah, it means nothing. I went through like a whole week of trying to tell her where I was going to be with my friend, and Mom was texting me, freaking out, not knowing where I was, and I'm like, I literally told you this. And she's like, no, you didn't. And I'm like, tearing my hair out over here. And so I finally just kind of implemented the rule of, I'm going to text you, I'm going to tell you, and you can look down at your phone and know that I told you.
Yeah, it'd be like 10 o'clock at night. I'm like, where are my kids? It's like the commercial from years ago. It's 10 o'clock, and do you know where your kids is? No, I have no idea where my kid is.
I was spending the night with my friend. I was having a sleepover.
I didn't know.
Sometimes.
But she did. Someone did.
Someone did, but not the current mom. So yeah, but that I think that is the biggest disadvantage. Is just like, you cannot say something to your mom, even if it is important, and have her remember it. You have to have some kind of physical copy that she can refer back to whenever she switches. So she
who
knows
gave you
what
permission to do that?
You did. One of you gave me permission to go off and do this, that, or the other. Leave me alone.
What about you, Rachel? What do you think?
Sometimes you're like perpetually little, or perpetually like one of the older alters, or for like a week or so.
Yeah, sometimes we get pretty stuck.
Yeah,
or we hit it.
And then some other times you're really, really switchy.
Yeah,
and you switch multiple times throughout the day.
Yeah, we are typically very switchy.
It's hard to keep track of who's who.
Yeah, I guess that would be a big disadvantage. Like, you don't know who is who and keeping track. Yeah, that makes sense.
A little unpredictable.
Yeah.
No, regardless.
Sorry about that. All right. If you could change one thing about your childhood in relation to Mommy Garden System having DID, what would it be?
Well, okay. I'm not sure if this was just kind of like the situation at the time, or if it was the fact that you had DID. But I think I would have liked a little bit more help with so-called adult things. You let me like buy myself a blackout curtains for my room, but
Oh yeah, you had to
didn't
put them up
help
by
me with.
yourself.
Yeah, I had to put them up by myself.
Like,
I was
here's
like,
the drill, kid. You can do this.
you didn't even hand me a drill. You're just like, you have to put them up by yourself. I had to figure out what tools I'd need. I had to find a bar to put up because I didn't have one. So I had to go shopping again for a bar.
Yeah, I probably had no idea how to do it either.
Yeah, and that's just like one example of like so-called like adulty things, or just things that were above my age level that like I did not really get.
Well, I mean, I raised you in the Montessori environment where, like, you eat off of china plates when you're 3 years old and you wash them and dry them yourself. Like, certainly by 12 years old, you could hang up a blackout curtain in your own bedroom, right?
Yeah,
That's not how that works.
but I permanently damaged the wall doing it.
I fixed it. It looks beautiful in there now. And you paint it. Well, the other kiddo painted that wall. You painted the one wall.
Yes, we have murals in our walls. All three of us have painted
Yeah,
murals.
I let you guys
that.
paint your own murals on the walls.
We need to beg you to paint the mural.
I said yes.
Drew's the reason the answer was yes to that. That is true.
Thank you very much, Drew. We love our room and we love how pretty it is. It feels very much like ours.
Yay! I love what you drew. It's so amazing.
But yeah,
Or painted, I should say.
yeah, just that is just like yes, I was Montessori raised, and yeah, I do know how to figure things out by myself, but I don't always want to figure things out by myself. I'd like to have some help along the way.
This
Fair
is
enough.
true. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was always my philosophy. Like, the things were like, I'm going to teach you to read, and then you're going to read to learn, and you're on your own after that. Like, that was another thing I did too.
And see, like, I'm A-okay with read to learn, like that. Like, I saw no problem with that.
See, that's how you were able. That's how you were able to learn how to hang up your curtain, because they taught you to read.
No.
But no. No.
Oh, goodness.
I don't think that curtain even came with instructions.
I taught you how to research.
You're missing the point.
I love you guys.
I love you
myself
too.
a little bit here. All right, Rachel, what about you? What would you change?
I don't really know.
Your childhood was perfect, right?
It was not. I've been thinking about it, but like, I don't know if I'd change anything.
Okay. All right. I think that's also good for people to hear, that you actually wouldn't change anything, and that's cool too.
True.
Okay.
Okay, what was it like when Garden System Mommy married Drew, me, another DID system?
Well, I'm not going to get into the whole situation that happened where you two got together and all the emotions that made me feel. That's a whole nother story on its own.
I feel lost. It's okay, Kaylee. Go on.
Mama?
Yes.
I would like to remind you that if your mother came home crying and throwing up in the toilet...
Stop. I was not throwing up. People don't know the story. Nobody knows the story. They don't know the
and
details.
that is why we are not getting into that.
It might have been a little emotional, people. I was super head over heels.
Sure. That's totally not whatever the word is. That's the opposite of exaggeration. Understating it. We're gonna move on. DID wise, I guess it was kind of cool almost to see both of you interact with each other, because like you like meshed very well. Like both of you would be littlest pretty much at the same time. or adults at the same time. And the few times that you weren't, like, you knew how to treat each other in a way that was respectful.
Aww. Yeah, there is a lot of respect. Yeah, for sure.
And just interacting with Drew herself, simply because she's a different type of system than my mom is, was very interesting. And just learning the name of like a few of Mama Drew's altars. I think the only one that's really stood out to me is Pink.
Pink rocks.
Pink
We
is
love
unforgettable.
That's also probably because I think that's the only name I've really learned. I think there was one time when an altar came out, and like she like looked at us and like just didn't know what to do with us, didn't know what we were almost. And she was like, "Who are you? Where am I?" And I'm like, "Mom? Hello?" I'm like, "You're Mama. You're married to my mom. You're an amazing mom, by the way." So just kind of like figuring out like the difference between like mom's system and mama's system, aka Mama Drew, was perhaps the most turmoil part of their relationship beyond the beginning.
Okay.
How about you, Rachel?
Yeah.
Kaylee took all the words.
Yeah, she does
took
that.
all the words. Yeah, aside from the fact that, like, yeah, I don't know a whole lot of Drew's parts as compared to Mommy's parts.
Yeah, I don't switch a ton. I don't switch as much as Garden System.
Yeah,
Your
when we
switches are much more covert too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we go. Yeah, your face looks the same a lot.
Yeah, it's mostly Lizzie out.
They don't go, "I'm this person," a whole lot.
Right.
We're just all over the place.
Aside from me actually ending up married in that relationship, emotions. Kaylee took all the words.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so all right, so we're moving along. For those people out there that think people with DID shouldn't be or aren't fit to be parents if they want to be, what do you have to say to them?
Maybe ask them to take a look at their own prejudices, because that is not, you don't get to judge someone on what they can or cannot do unless you also have that disability and have tried it. And even then, I wouldn't recommend judging, just because your situation might be different than their situation. Like, if you do not have like the problem that person is having, or the situation that person is having, then you really don't have much right to comment on their situation, because you have not experienced it yourself or some version of it. So you don't know what they're going through. Like, I do not want someone coming up to me and telling me I don't look autistic. I don't want someone coming up to me and telling me that because I have sensory processing disorder, that, you know, I should not be around other people because I can fall into a freaking meltdown over jeans. You know, like, not their place.
Well said.
I'm still having a flashback to when you were really little and you would put the jeans on and you kept saying, "They're touching me." And I was like, of course they're touching you. They're clothes. They're supposed to touch you. I was so lost and confused.
And like I didn't have the words at the time to describe what I was going through, but like nobody can come up to me and say I didn't go through that.
Right.
You know, nobody can come up to me and say you don't have any right to, you know, do such and such because you have this. Do you have this? No? Then shut your mouth.
I raised very strong-willed children.
Strong, independent, amazing children.
You did.
What about you, Rachel? What would you tell somebody who said somebody with DID shouldn't be a parent?
There are a lot of really shitty parents out there who don't have DID. So I think maybe it's not the deciding factor.
This is a good point.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have something you want to say to other kids out there that have parents with DID?
No.
I mean, partially like have patience with your mom or your dad or whatever, because they are struggling to figure out what the heck is going on with themselves. And so just kind of like knowing how to roll with the punches as they come along. But also at the same time, you know, like be willing to listen to your mom or your dad or whoever as an authority figure. Like, I don't care if so and so alter is 1 years old or even 18 months years old sometimes. They have authority over you being your parent, unless they have in some way proven that like they shouldn't have that by being abusive. Like, if your parent is generally a very good parent, then listen to them no matter who the heck is talking.
You mean like when Daisy says you should go to bed, but then you convince her to play?
Again, as I said, do as I say, not as I do. But yes, essentially. And to be fair, like, we didn't start pulling that trick until we were like a little bit older, okay?
Right. You know, like I think what's kind of key here is that like every alter, every self, or every part is the parent, is your parent, you know, for these kids. Like that's always, like I'm always mom, no matter who I am, like I'm still mom.
So basically, trust and obey your parent, and you know, make sure to be adaptable. And also, like, if they are willing to tell you about their disability and help you understand it a bit more, be willing to listen, and maybe also do some of your own research. Though be careful about going into sources that may not tell you the truth. Like, just know your sources and how to research.
Yeah, so I think the only thing to add here, like, because like you did mention it, like unless the parent is abusive, like if there's a reason not to do what they say, like that's important too. Like we don't want blind obedience. Just because somebody's an authority figure doesn't necessarily mean that you should do exactly what they say. But like in general, to recognize that just because the adult mom isn't out doesn't mean that that suddenly all the household rules fall apart. Rachel, what do you have to say to other kids out there that have parents with DID?
Kaylee kind of summed it up. She takes all the words.
Shoot,
that's what I had to
going
say.
Over 10. It's 7:00 and it's time for me to start.
Okay, we have one last question.
Well, what advice do you have for parents living with DID?
Stay calm. And talk to your therapist massively about things. Maybe journal if you absolutely have to. And also be willing to, like, always shower your children with love. Like, do not be afraid to pull your child into a hug. I don't care how old they are. Remind them that you love them.
I love
think
that.
goes for everyone.
What was that, Rachel?
I think that could go for every parent.
True, it could.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Rachel? What would you tell people? What would you tell people living with DID that are parents?
Write things down.
Right.
And take pictures. Like, it's okay to ask somebody for help who doesn't have DID or also has DID, just somebody else. It's easier to do it if you've got another person.
Well, thank you guys very much for all that. Thank you, Kaylee and Rachel, for talking with us today about what it was like for you to have parents with DID.
And thank you, dear listeners, for hanging out with
A Couple of Multiples.
We are honored to have multiple sponsors for Season 3. You can find links to each sponsor's webpage in the show notes of every episode and on our website under the Listen to Our Podcast tab. The Institute for Creative Mindfulness, one of the largest EMDR therapy training programs in North America, is directed by Dr. Jamie Plus Marich, the only EMDR therapy trainer who is out as a plural and offers the full EMDR therapy basic training in a way that honors lived experience and destigmatizes dissociation in clinical work.
We felt so validated when we were able to authentically participate in this training as Garden System. Go to www.instituteforcreativemindfulness.com for a full list of upcoming trainings, both online and in person, offered by Dr. Jamie and her selected network of EMDR trainers. Dr. Wendy Aporta with Bearings Therapy is a marriage and family therapist specializing in military and first responder individuals, families, and couples. She is proficient with clients experiencing PTSD, CPTSD, and dissociative disorders.
For her, helping those with traumatic experiences is not just a job, it is a vocation. She is experienced in multiple modalities and utilizes whatever is best for her clients' needs. She stays abreast of the latest research and treatments to provide the best possible outcomes for her clients. Call Bearings Therapy today, 214-892-2158. From your hosts, Drew
and Garden System.
Thank you for listening to A Couple of Multiples, the reality of dissociative identity disorder. This podcast is intended for educational purposes and is not a replacement for therapy.
Listening to this podcast does not constitute a therapeutic relationship with the hosts or any guest speakers.
If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a review. We would love to hear what you enjoyed the most.
You can visit our website at acoupleofmultiples.com for additional information, including how to join our new online paid community called Hearts Multiplied, to book a consultation session, to access additional resources, and to also subscribe to our mailing list to receive future updates.
Remember, every system is unique, and your experiences may be different from ours, and that's okay. You matter and are loved for being all of yous.